going on, everyone? Episode 98. How's everyone doing?
Getting close to that 100 mark. Can't believe it. Thought we'd be out by now.
Yeah, it's actually crazy.
Crawling our way there. So we got some fun stuff today. It's March, so you know what that means. March Madness prep. Got the brackets going to be out in a couple weeks. We'll talk some NBA, some big news, some not so great news either from around the league, Sixers stuff, and then as always during the NASCAR season, end with some NASCAR updates from Chase. So, you guys ready?
No, I'm pumped. We're starting the March Madness talk now. I mean, I feel like, especially with the NBA, as bad as it's been for Chase and I, this is just super exciting. I mean, sports fans around the world, this is like, people say this can be like the best month, basically because of March. That first weekend of March Madness, and besides like right in the beginning of fall with football starting and baseball ending, it's for sure one of the best times of year because baseball starts at the end of the month too. So it's a wild time. It's that second, you get twice a year the madness of sports, and first one of 2025. Can't wait.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm finally happy. Like we're ready to get on this giant upswing of all the sports starting to go, and then especially for the playoffs and basketball and hockey, even though the Sixers won't be a part, but still looking forward to all the series and matchups.
Yeah, NBA playoff basketball is nice because we won't get into NBA now, but for me at least, I'm gonna be honest, even though the Knicks are doing well, the product on screen is a lot less watchable for me. This just in general, I have not enjoyed watching NBA basketball that much. It's just the product itself, not anything to do with a specific team or player. It's just kind of how the game's being played. But that's a separate topic. That's why I enjoy March Madness and college basketball.
We can get into this right now. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw Steve Kerr came out again, and basically he didn't blast the officials, but he blasted the league with the traveling again, and just.
No. I mean, we could talk NBA first and then go into college basketball after. Let's do that.
I mean, we're in it. We're in it right now. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying I agree with you, Ben, but it is the 3-pointer for sure has gotten crazy out of hand. I mean, it's easy just to go back and forth and look for the open guy to jack up a three, but just the overall, the fundamentals.
Yeah. So, and for me, like the Knicks are good, so I should be in. I don't watch a ton of games because they're out of market, and I don't. But I just.
You should be, Ben. You just keep putting all your eggs into the Mets basket. Enjoy the Knicks.
I will watch the playoffs and more of that, but I mean, all around the league, we've seen it constantly with like berating officials, and it's a lot of that's getting old. It is, and the replays, like we talk about baseball, how there were like some of the stuff is taking forever. Like I feel like NBA replays just take forever, and some of them are so obvious. Like some of those calls just don't need to be taking as long as they do. So it's just we could talk about 3-pointers and travels, but I'm enjoying the college game a lot more just from a visual perspective. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I for the first time in a long time, I watched a couple high school basketball games this year. Big Spring was in the district playoffs out here, Lindsay's school. And it was fun to watch because, I mean, they got a little bit into the feed the one player situation, but just the overall passing and how the offense flows. It's like college basketball, right? You just see the ball moving around, a lot more communication, talking, the fans, the crowd's more involved. So, yeah, I mean, it kind of goes with the NHL and the NBA. They're long, daunting seasons. Baseball is a little different with the atmosphere and all, but you can see it. And with the energies in the crowds too. I mean, there's plenty of third quarters you probably turn on in a close Knicks game number 54. And I mean, yeah, it's game number 54. So we're all just going to sit here and watch Tom Thibodeau run everyone into the ground again and probably win by 20. So I get it. I get it. I mean, basketball is my favorite sport, and
I know it is.
I get it.
Yeah. I would have to agree with the visual aspect of it. NBA, like, I feel like if it's compared and there's a college game on, I feel like I'm more likely to go towards a college game just because there's still different styles that are you can find, and it's kinda like college football too, like, you have Army that's just gonna be in a run pass option, like or not even a pass, just run option, and all these different types of different things that still exist, and it keeps the tradition alive, so I feel like in college basketball, you still kinda get that, you still kinda get, like a Zach Edey type who can dominate, and not necessarily so in, like, the NBA, but, like, in college basketball, he was able to do a lot, so I feel like when it's compared to the 2, I feel like I definitely agree. The college basketball one's a little bit more stylistically, like, not as much as like they both play hard in both leagues, obviously, and they're both getting paid now. But I just feel like in college, there's like a little more craziness that can happen. Like the Michigan State Maryland game, it was a
Yeah.
last second heave, and it's like just stunning. Like and especially because of all the storylines and all the implications that it has for March Madness and conference tournaments and stuff. So yeah, but I don't know. I feel like overall, the NBA just has to maybe they just like, I think we talked about this before, but I feel like shortening the season just a little
Yep.
bit and still keeping the playoff length just as is, like,
Yeah.
I feel like more people won't sit out as much if it's like if they take off 10 to 15 games, I feel like that's plenty,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I know that the league probably wouldn't do that because of broadcasting rights, but they would have to make it up somehow, but they already do stupid in-season tournaments, so it's like you can probably flex and, like, add a bubble game or add, like, a few games here and there that make you money but are meaningless overall, other than just whatever they wanna incentivize it as, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that would be better for the product itself overall.
Yeah.
I
And I
mean,
know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
no, go ahead, Ben.
I was just gonna say, and I also like we look at the NBA now, and like I think we all can agree there's a different like playoff basketball comes and it's a different brand of basketball. Like
Yes.
there's more physicality, it's more intense, it's more enjoyable to watch. And I don't know if that's also because now you have 10 teams from each league that get in. So you
Ridiculous.
have like there's a lot of teams that don't the guys aren't playing as hard as maybe they would because they know they're going to get into playoffs, and like why would they? I mean why would they, risk it? So that's also something like just 10 teams from each league just is also a crazy thing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Chase, is it like what's the comp like with the NHL? Because especially like NHL atmosphere is wild, but they have the same exact setup. They have 82 games and you have to win 4 best of 7 series. I mean, is it similar? Do you get to these lulls in the season, or do you feel like you can turn on a beginning of March NHL game and it's going to be a fun time?
Yeah, the Flyers have been a little bit, like a roller like a I don't know, kind of an exception just because they're not a good team, but it is definitely gets into, like, a lull period. I feel like from January, February,
Okay.
it's a little bit, but right now, with the trade deadline coming up this week, this can make or break a lot of teams. So there's teams that who suck right now that maybe get to the deadline that start to heat up or whatever, or just teams that haven't been meeting the expectations that figure it out, and so I feel like right now it's kind of exciting because you're gonna find teams that hit a spark, and there's also going to be teams that just collapse too. So it really just depends. But I feel like there is a little bit of excitement with hockey just because I don't guys don't really sit out. Like they don't really like to sit, and I feel like it's good for them to at
Yeah.
least be on the ice. Like they might I feel like how they get around it is, like, unless you're actually hurt, they'll just shave your minutes off, so it's like you still play, but instead of playing 19, you played, like, 14 or 15 or something like that, so I feel like they're always still wanting to play, which helps, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's even
You
still, I feel like hockey could be shorter too. I feel like it could be, like,
yeah.
70 or 60 games.
Yeah. I mean
Just because
everyone
you know how the playoffs are gonna go, like, you keep the playoffs the same, it's probably gonna be even more intense than what it already is.
yeah. I mean we even all agree that 4 best of 7 I mean like baseball doesn't even have 4 best of 7 series to win
Yeah.
the World Series. Like, I mean, we like you get into playoffs, regular season, and say, I think we're on the same page. I mean, I get it; it all comes down to politics and money, but
Yeah. Because it's like,
There's
what's the actual point of the regular season other than just like get some stats and like rank some teams? I feel like that's the only point of it. It's like otherwise, most of the time you can just do
yeah.
play-ins all the time and have tournaments. Like instead of just forget regular seasons, just do tournaments. 4 tournaments every season. You get a different tournament for each sport. I'd be in for that. You
Yeah.
still like break it up.
No, true. Yeah. And that's why, Ben, I know like the WNBA is catching fire right now. The last I'm not just with Caitlin Clark, I would say the last half a decade.
Mm.
And I mean, you just mentioned how they having a season expansion in games. I mean, it's just you get. I mean, football is like the only one where you physically can't play too many games because they're not going to play that many to begin with. But I mean, the WNBA, I feel like even has to be careful with this. Yeah, they want to make more money, and they know fans are going to show up, but you build it too far, and then you get into these lulls. I mean,
Well, the WNBA has to get to a point where they can have enough games to pay their players so they don't have to go to Europe and play
yeah, fair.
again in a different league so they can like survive. Like they need to
Yeah.
get to a point where they can just play in the WNBA and that's all they have to do. And if they want to play in another league, fine, but they don't like, they shouldn't have
Yeah.
to. And like that's where the unrivaled 3-on-3 thing was good because even though it was here, it also they built all these state of the art like workout studios and like courts and equipment rooms that were a lot of them were better than WNBA ones are, and so it's trying to set that standard of a better facilities and better training environments for them
No,
too.
true, true. No, I don't want to get us too
Yeah,
off task, but yeah, I just I don't know. You start going down the rabbit hole, and it's just like everyone's doing the most. I mean, especially now with social media and talk shows and this that. There's enough to talk about. I mean, you turn on WIP Philly Sports Radio today, and I guarantee you, half of these shows are still talking about the Eagles, and they don't play that
Oh,
many games. It's like,
yeah. It's
I,
90% Eagles. You don't even know that spring training's happening.
yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, less in the games, and there's a lot more value and certain players. I mean, in the NBA, we especially with centers. Oh my gosh, I know Embiid's worse than a lot. I know certain centers like Jokic are built, but these guys are massive, and it's so hard on your body and knees to run up and down the court, run up and down the court, stop, pivot, jump, freaking 5 feet in the air, and collide with amongst each other, knee to knee, knee to knee, knee to knee, and just like, okay, shave 20 games off. Not only does everything get more exciting, everyone tries harder. You might have a few less injuries, and overall, I think you have a better product. So it's not that
Yeah.
hard in my eyes. It's not
Yeah.
that hard.
Until the NBA can figure out how to make like gravity courts where it just takes the impact off, where it's like not so bad, then they needed to do something. But hopefully, they all actually consider schedule changes because I feel like it'd be cool. Like kind of like European soccer, like their seasons are so long, it seems like, but there's different phases and like different tournaments, which I feel like breaks it up, and then it like ultimately culminates with one big one at the end. But it would be kind of cool, especially for like the WNBA. This is a time they could be like trying something different, like, be like, "Hey, you know what? This Unrivaled thing worked. Let's just buy it, incorporate it, and then make 2 seasons, like, 1 of this and then 1 3 versus 3." And then we basically have, like, 2 like, a regular season and a mini season. And I feel like that would draw, like, people in and be like, "This is unique, like, this is a different way," and, like, there's always content, like, I feel like that's why the UFC grew the way they did because they're like, "Whatever, we may make $10 for the next 2 years, but we're putting on a show every single weekend."
yep.
Like, eventually
Yeah.
just be like, they just oversaturated and they're like, there's nothing you can do about it, we're just gonna do this." And so I feel like the more committed you are to putting in events, then the more people are gonna watch, like, they just can't ignore it after a while.
Yeah.
Because you're giving so many opportunities for people to, like, make a mark for themselves.
Yeah. It's not about time. Been there.
Oh boy, we're losing everybody here. Oh, there we go.
I'm here. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it went down. I was
Yeah, that
here the
was
whole time.
weird. Okay. I thought I just booted everyone. I was like, oh boy,
No, I
we're
was
flying
here, but
solo.
I just like
Okay.
went off the screen, but I was still in here. I don't know why that.
Okay. Is Ryan still in here?
No, Ryan is not in
Okay,
here.
Ryan's out.
Ryan is
Ryan's
out.
left the show. That
Um,
was so good.
we can keep. I mean, we could talk. We can get into some of the NBA stuff. I know we could probably
Yeah.
talk about the state of some of this forever.
Yeah,
Um,
really. Yeah.
but I don't want to. I know he wanted to talk some about Kyrie too. So and definitely the Sixers. But
Yeah, this has definitely been, I would say, some of the biggest redemption, I guess, for people, but also biggest heartbreak too for the NBA terms. Different teams, different fortunes, especially the Mavericks. Like I can't imagine what their fans are going through the
what are
last month and a half, ever since the deadline. This has
I
been a
know.
nightmare.
I mean, if you like, and I've seen on like Twitter or X whatever on like they're also raising season tickets by like 25% next year. So and people are pissed because they're like, you did all this, and this was before the Kyrie stuff, but you did all this at the trade deadline. Obviously, fans don't like it, and now you're raising prices when you have not
Yeah,
like a lesser product on the field or on the court.
yeah. And who knows where it goes now? Like Kyrie's not young, AD's not young. Those are your two big anchors right now. So what
Yeah,
do
and you
you yeah.
like I mean, I don't know if we would have said like the first game, but we all could have seen an Anthony Davis injury coming from a mile away.
Oh, yeah. It's he's prone, and it's unfortunate because he's a talented guy, but he
Yeah.
just can't seem to shake an injury, and especially a long ones too, where it's like he just gets hit, and it's not just like, "Oh, he broke his fingernail and he's out a couple days." It's like long-term stuff where it's weeks and even sometimes months, so this is definitely a blow. I don't know, it seems like the new Mavericks owners just don't even care about the people of Dallas, and they're gonna move the team, and they just want people to hate them enough to be like, "Get rid of this team."
Is that what
But
it is? Are they
I don't know.
trying to
I
move the
thought
team?
it kind of felt like that because they're from Vegas, and it kind of felt like I didn't really get this before that, but now that you traded your star player, you're raising more money for what? I don't know, maybe to make a new stadium. But I feel like now, like relocations is always like a possibility with pretty much anybody. Like they always said, if like you have championships in that city, you shouldn't leave, but that's not been the case. Like teams
Yeah.
have been able to move, so. I don't know, I feel like it would be a slap in the face to lose the Mavericks, like, they've been such a marquee place, like,
Yeah.
stability, like, I feel like the NBA can rely on that type of market, and I don't feel like Dallas fans have done anything to make them feel like they shouldn't have a team. I don't know, this is all speculation, but if I was a Dallas Mavericks fan, I would be questioning, like, "Are you trying to, like, not stay here
Yeah.
or something? Like, why would you do all this negative stuff to us?"
That's fair. Maybe they move to Seattle, bring back the Supersonics.
Yeah, or Vegas, like, I don't know, it's been
Vegas.
like, that they're already there, and I feel like they already have the infrastructure to move a basketball team in, like, I feel like that's the easiest to move out of all the professional franchises,
Yeah.
so, uh, I
It's
don't
only a
know,
matter. Yeah.
it's interesting, but since Luka left, it's like, what do you what do the Mavericks have? Like, I know as a Sixers fan, it seems like my owner does nothing, and I feel like we're in a bad position, but at least we're acquiring assets for the future and we have a chance. Like, it doesn't even seem like it seems like the Mavericks just hooked up for a short-term deal, and that's it. That's what they're riding on.
Well, and at least you guys have shown to spend money and things like that, whereas the Mavs never really have landed a like top. I don't know. They're just not a destination. It seems like in general. Hey Ryan.
No. No, it always seems like they have their one guy, like their cornerstone, and that's how they win it. Like that's the Mavericks style, that's the way they do it.
Yeah.
And now it's not gonna be that unless somehow they stumble into a deal where they can I don't know. It's just I feel like as an NBA fan, I hate the Mavs for doing that, and especially helping out the Lakers. Like, why would the Lakers already get the benefit of the doubt because the league will try to help them, and it's like, you just gave them somebody who's young, regardless, whatever, maybe he flames out in 2 years, but still, why would you do that?
I can only imagine like Rob Pelinka like getting offered this trade, and he's like, "What's the catch?" Like
Yeah,
what?
or thinking it's a joke and not even taking it seriously, like, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, you probably want us to offer something crazy in return."
You want LeBron and whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Although
Like
I would have done that too if I'm the Lakers.
yeah, like, it just seems such a fake deal. And for the league to not let Chris Paul go to the Lakers, but then be like, "Oh, yeah, this is a fair deal." It's like, "What? What the
I,
hell? What?"
well, I know, and I was curious about that. I did see that that was also because David Stearns was like at the time there was no owner, so technically they were
Oh,
the
yeah, they
owner
were running the Pelicans,
of the
yeah.
Pelicans, so they were like, which is such a conflict of interest, but that's a separate thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ryan, you want to touch on Kyrie? We're talking about the Mavs, but we didn't talk about Kyrie. Or you're muted, Ryan. You're still muted. But as Ryan's figuring that out, just start talking whenever it works, Ryan. Okay. But
Oh,
Kyrie,
god.
so obviously pulled a Kobe, got
Yeah,
injured, and then just
Oh, yeah, here we go.
there you go.
it's ridiculous. Break this computer. No, we can jump into it. No, I don't know. I missed a few things you guys touched on. Sorry about that. But yeah, at the end of the day, the Mavs, I thought were one of the better organizations in the NBA. It's become a hot mess express with the whole Luka deal. Definitely one sided, and basically everything. I don't know what you guys touched on yet, but everything that's could have gone wrong. I don't even know if Anthony Davis, how many games he's played. I haven't paid attention to it.
He played one and got injured in the first game.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
That's
we
it.
didn't really touch on, like, Kyrie's injury at all. We mostly were just talking about the trade
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
Luka.
it's been a mess since. So Anthony Davis doesn't play. Kyrie's now done.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at their injury report, it's just as bad as the 76ers. And I mean,
Lively's been out too.
what?
Derek Lively's been out for a minute.
Yep. Yeah. And on top, and the only thing, I mean, obviously this Kyrie news, and we can get into it, but the only thing I've seen now since the Luka deal, basically from the Mavs organization, is just that they're raising their season ticket prices.
We did talk about that.
You
Yeah.
touched on
Yeah.
that. That's what this all
Yeah.
went into. Yeah, which is just
That's crazy.
it's such a mess. And I mean, for Kyrie's sake, I just feel bad. He's one of those guys. He's like not like on the same level as Shohei Ohtani, but he's one of those guys where you want to tune into a game to watch because he's just fun watching. He has the best handles in the league. He's sneaky on defense. You know, it's just a fun basketball player to watch. You know, like he looks like he could be playing street ball out there, and it's a lot of fun. So, but this just puts kind of the nail in the coffin for the Mavericks as a whole. I mean, I don't even know. They're the 10 seed right now, and they've obviously sloped since the Luka deal, but it's not like their season's a loss. It's not like a Sixers situation with Maxey going down the other night, but I don't even know what you do. And I mean, ACLs, he's going to miss part of next year too. I'm going to guess he's going to get all weird Kyrie and one out and try to go somewhere else whenever he's ready to come back. But this is just, I feel bad for him. I don't really feel bad for the organization for the Mavericks right now, but it's only thing they got going for them is that they're still 2 games above 500.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna stay afloat. I think we tried to talk about who's even their depth or role players, and it's hard to even remember who they have, but Yeah, and I don't even blame Kyrie if he does want to come back and get a trade. I will. Why would you even want to stay on the Mavs? Like they might even trade him before he even gets a chance to give a request. Like who knows what the Mavs are up to right now? Like it seem like they have other forces controlling them, but actually it looks like Spencer Dinwiddie's their backup point guard, so I guess he's gonna slide in there and
Yeah. Yeah,
be
I mean,
mop up
if
duty.
you look at their list of guys, it doesn't seem that bad. I mean, Dinwiddie, Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, Max Christie. I mean, they have players. Dwight
Yeah,
Powell's a serviceable center, as Ben likes to use that
Dante
word.
Exum.
Yeah, so it's not. I mean, they have guys. It's just that half of them been injured basically the whole year, and
Yeah,
if it weren't for the Suns having a 76ers type year on their side, they would already be dead in the water. And I don't think I have a feeling that the Mavs won't make the play on. I think they're gonna just fall. Which
Yeah, they'll do it. You know, the beginning of all this is when they decided to just sit Luca. Was that 2 years ago or last year? They sat
oh
Luca
my gosh, yeah, what a mess that
in the
was.
final game of
yeah,
the season just
yeah,
not
That was
literally
2 years ago, I think. Now I think that was almost 2 years ago.
yeah, purposely not to make the playoffs. Wild that a team's even allowed to do that. Blatantly.
This is the basketball gods coming full circle for this entire team.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. That's crazy. That's how it's turned out. Like what a downfall. Like they were in a position. They were literally in the finals last year.
Yeah, and to
That's
blow up
true.
to blow up
I
a
forget.
team that
I
was
literally
in the
forget that every day. I forget that.
yeah, to blow up a team that just got to the finals. It's just you got to at least
Yeah.
run it back. You could trade Luca in the offseason. You got to try to run it back.
I don't understand. That's wild. You're right. They literally
That's not fair.
literally
Like,
are in
the
the
organization.
finals. I mean, how strong the West is. They made the finals last year.
Yeah, and like I mean they ran into a dynamo. Like I feel like nobody was really going to beat Boston last year, but still that showed you that you only needed a couple more pieces to really be right there. Like now you're not even on the map. Who knows? You're basically in a free fall. Like who knows where it goes now because I feel like the NBA is a star driven league and if you don't have a star then you have to hope you're the Thunder and if you're not the Thunder then I don't know who you are.
Yeah, they got Clay. Like I feel like that was one of the points of getting him in the hopes that like especially the experience in the playoffs, he would be a great piece for them. But
Yeah, I don't get it. It'd be really cool if we could get somebody from the Mavs ownership or front office on here and just be like, what the hell's going on here? Like, is this
they
just
probably
some
would be
big
like,
meme?
I don't know. They probably don't know.
This is some like weird like old school Washington Redskins like Oakland Raiders type. Like what's going on? Los Angeles Angels is a good modern day
Yeah.
like I don't know what's going. This is like a clown organization,
Yeah.
and it just stinks that Kyrie goes out now because they weren't going to do anything with him playing. But
No, but still, like that's just such a blow to be like the only person really who's gonna really be the star riding out the rest of the year was Kyrie, and
yeah,
now what's the point of even going to a game if you're a Mavs fan? I'm saying that as a Sixers fan, and the tickets are $2.
yeah. But that's the thing. At least like the 76ers, the Phoenix Suns, some of these teams down there, even the Spurs, they're having a down year, and Wemby's out now. But like they're trying. Like this is just a weird. Like to Ben's point, 2 years ago they had a chance to like make a little bit of noise in the playoffs, and they purposely don't. Last year they try, they make the finals. This year, basically, they're doing what they did 2 years ago, where they get a good chunk of the way into the season, 2/3 of the way through, make it, and they're like throwing in the towel for no reason. Like it doesn't even make sense. They built this team in the offseason. They brought in Clay. They try to make a couple moves, right? And then they get to the trade deadline and they're just like, yeah, you know what? The hell with it.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So
Makes no sense.
That's
Yeah.
one thing. As bad as the NBA's product's been on the court in the regular season, the off the court trade deadline moves, off seasons, it's still very exciting and unpredictable. And thank you, Dallas Mavericks. We probably wouldn't have talked about you this year, but had to touch on them for it.
Yeah. And we'll move in quick here to keep going with NBA, and just you guys can touch on your Sixers quick. And seems like they finally kind of went a direction this past week.
Yeah, they finally decided to just shut down Embiid, which still seems like they could have did a month ago and been out ahead of this. And not only just to throw in the towel in the season, but I'm just talking about in terms of recovery for Embiid, because it really doesn't even actually seem good that um, the options that are available to him can present any sort of fix. Like, it's a meniscus problem, and you can't really get those back. So that's a tough thing. I don't really know, like, if Joel's ever really gonna actually be the same. So I'm kind of glad they're taking a look into the future and realizing, like, okay, just in case Joel can't come back and be the MVP player that he is, who do we have, and what's this team gonna look like? Like, what are we able to do? So it sucks. It's annoying to waste a year, but at the same time, I'd rather try to flip it and be in a good position next year, where it's like, okay, wow, that was such a turn. And I didn't think that a year from now we would be in this position, but it happens in a league like the NBA, where you can just get hot and find the right guys and have the right amount of youth. And it's not
Yeah,
necessarily about like an actual heavy hitter, they can just find the right lineups. And I feel like Nick Nurse is capable, whether or not he's still here or not, I don't know. But still, I feel like if you give him actual options, he can do stuff with it.
I feel like if
yeah,
anyone's, you guys know more than I know. I feel like if anyone's on the chopping block, it could be Maury.
Yeah, it should be. I don't know if you can chop the owner from the team, but he should also be up there. And Elton Brand. Also, pretty much anyone that has any kind of type of role in the front office. Yeah, I feel like you possibly, I don't
yeah.
know, should at
Just
least just get a pay decrease, because, like, what the hell, dude?
just because the Sixers have been trying to put a winning product on the floor doesn't mean they're doing a good job of it. But I mean, we touched on Embiid last week. I think he got shut down right away. But then even over the weekend, Saturday night, I mean, they have the big win. Quentin Grimes has a career night, and like it still felt like after that win, he's like, we got a lot of fight left. We're trying, like, it still felt like they were like trying to win. He's like, we're trying to make the play-in tournament, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
it finally was like, okay, let's give you this one win out of the last 10 games, still say stuff like that. And now let's hit official rock bottom a week after Embiid shut down Monday night when Maxey gets hurt. Justin Edwards re-rolls his ankle. I felt like Andre Drummond was holding his wrist. Mike Tirico's calling the game, has no idea what's going on. And they just get completely blown out by a Portland Trailblazers team that has nothing to show for. And all these young guys are just running around out there, just draining everything. Anthony Simons pops off. And it's like, no. Now I feel like we finally have hit the point where it's just like, we're not going to win. We're physically not going to win. Paul George didn't play. Everyone else who did play basically got hurt. And I don't even know what product they got on the floor tonight in Memphis. It's got to be a complete mess. And
Minnesota.
Oh, in Minnesota, apologies. But I don't even. This is wild. I think, Chase, you're right. Like, at this point, anyone who can physically play, you throw them out there, see what the product is. I would love to bring Paul George back. I'm going to be optimistic with Embiid. Maxey, I don't know. At least not yet. He's not ready to be a number one, right? So you're going to have to get some other type of number one if it's not going to be Embiid. Some pieces I like. Quentin Grimes, great move, but I think that was a good move by Maury. I would love him to stick around. I think he has a lot more potential than just a 3-and-D guy. I think he can
enjoy the 5-game stretch he has.
I think he can carry some offensive sets more than just standing in the corner, and he can lock up any one person on the defensive side. I think Gershon Yabusele was a great all-season find. I have to give credit for that too, and I would love him to stick around. I know that the problem is going to become money when they get into the offseason. But hey, they did it this last year. You sign a bunch of guys to 1-year deals. Hope they don't all get injured for the rest of the year like Aaron Gordon, or you trade them in bad moves like Reggie Jackson. But yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at it as your top two guys right now are probably Maxey, McCain, and McCain's just purely projection. He played a quarter of a season, looked okay, but still, I don't really know. But he feels more of a need right now, so I feel like position wise, and then I feel like if you are able to get a top six pick, that player is probably going to be, depending on the role, as high as a 3, but maybe your 5th. And then, like, Paul George and Embiid are in there. Obviously, I feel like they're gonna come back just because of contractually, you can't really do anything about it, and also you still need them because it's not like they're not talented NBA players, but I feel like right now, if I look at it, like, that's the way I can see it, and maybe that's the way that they're looking at it too, is, like, they still need 3 guys who can do something, and, yeah, you're projecting a lot onto those other 2 guys to do something, but at least Maxey went on a streak of he could get you 30 points, and that's pretty good. That's not nothing. Like, that helps a lot, but it's
Re-
just the way he was going about it's kinda hard too.
yeah. Realistically, do you think they can get a top 6 pick? Because
I feel like they have to get a top 6 pick. I feel like it's no question. If you're gonna shut down Embiid and put out the people you're putting out, you're praying to God somehow you get a top 6 pick.
because I read that even if they're like the 4th worst record, that it's only like a 50-50 shot they still get to retain. Like they get a top 6 pick essentially.
This
Yeah.
might be the first draft lottery you guys are watching.
But I'm just like,
since
Chase, I'm just thinking, like, it just seems like the Sixers are cursed. Like, realistically, they right now, I think I'm sorry, if they're the 4th worst record, it's like an 80% shot. If they end with the 6th worst record, I think it's like a 45 to 50% chance they get it. Like, like they finish with the record right now, 50-50 shot, they get a top 6 pick. Do you think we'll get it?
I'm pushing all my chips in and hoping to God. I'm hoping that some miracle happens.
I
I
just
mean, they have to, like, this is it. This is a moment that's gonna change because it's like this pick is gonna go if you don't get the top 6, it goes to Oklahoma City and it just conveys the next year, which is fine, but we already kicked the can down the road enough times. You can't say another year at this point. Like, you have to hope to God somehow Adam Silver is just like, "Wow, look at this lucky ball. Oh, look at this 76ers." Like, I don't know how. I don't know how many times you have to kiss his shoes or do whatever you have to do, but somehow do it. But I don't know. I feel like they have to. I feel like they wouldn't go about the way that they were going about it if they didn't think that that was an absolute possibility. Like, they cleared off a bunch of money and got second round picks. So either they think that they're going to be able to trade into it, sign a free agent, or get the top 6 pick and hope the guy get the top 6 pick. At least for me, that's what I feel like is that's the win out of this
I'm
whole
okay.
situation.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
like that you're trying to take a win out of it. I just are they gonna get the top 6 pick?
It's
I think if
sketchy.
they have the 4th worst record, they have like an 80% chance or something. But they'd have to fall. The Raptors are 2 games behind them, and then after that, the Pelicans are 4 games behind them. And
I mean,
they're still flirting with the Nets, they have the same record. So it's just
and how many games do they have left on the year? Like
22, I think.
Let's say it's
22. So what
Yeah.
are the actual chances that somehow Maxey picks up a mystery injury, gets shut down for the end of the year, so does Paul George, and then all of a sudden they're just literally no one's in their starting lineup. I
All
feel
of
like
a
that's
sudden,
a possibility here.
and it is. It's yeah. I mean,
I mean, Tyrese Maxey's not gonna want to hear that, so you're gonna have to knock him out, put him on a plane to send him to like Bermuda with no
oh yeah,
phone or any contact. Send him
That's
to
the
a
one.
gym so he can work out still, but give him absolutely no way to come back here before the end of the season.
It's the one thing I'll always give him credit for. His he just wants to be out there
Animal.
and trying to win. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't have you winning right now when we got a top 6 pick on the line, buddy. I
I mean,
mean,
the
this is
first,
gonna be your career too. Like, would you rather win meaningless games right now or have a guy who's gonna elevate your career for the next 5 years? I feel like easy decision. I feel like an early vacation. Paul George will definitely take an early vacation right now. He actually already might be on his way to a vacation right now.
Wait, he's in.
yeah.
He's in.
Embiid and Jared McCain are just can continue
Yeah.
matching sweatpant outfits on the sideline
Uh,
the rest of the year.
Honestly, Embiid needs to just go to Austin, find Joe Rogan, tell him to take him to anywhere that's gonna help him heal his body. And then just do whatever he says. Do exactly whatever he says and go wherever you have to go. You have plenty of money to do it and do it because I feel like that's your only actual shot of anything actually happening to your body. Is if you just go to him, find out whatever 150 supplements that he has, we'll put you on, send you to some place in Peru, go there,
Yeah.
and then come back. And then stop in Mexico, and then stop in Austin again, and then come back to Philly. I feel like by the time that's all done, one ayahuasca trip later, he's on the court and he's the new Aaron Rodgers of the NBA.
Oh, do you want that?
I don't want that, but I feel like he'll hit the ayahuasca and realize, why am I acting like Ben Simmons? I've had it too good for too long. Maybe no one's held me accountable. Maybe that's the reason why Jimmy Butler left. But I still have the option. I got a brand new body. I can change it right now. That'd be great for us, and that'd be great for him.
You got
He
it.
only has to do it one time. I'm not trying to make him do it the next every off season for the next 5 years. I feel like one time, plenty.
All right.
It's gonna be
One
the
time
first
just to
time I.
scare him.
It's gonna be like the
Just
first
to
time I turn
realize.
into a. By the way, this is gonna be like the first time Chase we turn into a draft lottery in a decade.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah.
so
And we're not going for just, I don't know. Like, I feel like then it was just trying to throw a dart at the board. Like, I feel like now it's a lot more, okay, we know exactly what we're shopping for right now. And if we don't get it, we can also trade that pick too. If we get it, it's top six. We can also combine that probably. I think. I don't know. I don't know what their actual future picks are and how you can only trade so many consecutively. But if it's not one that they can't do that with, then I don't know. But they have to do something. They have to hit some kind of Jaden Daniels Hail Mary. Someone messes up the defensive coverage and we get a sneak in there and it wins, but they need something.
so officially, Chase, you want them to lose? You want them to go 0-20 these last 20
Yes.
games?
Yeah, I want them to lose tonight, starting tonight. I want them to I don't know.
I'll never be able to do that as a fan. I mean, I will
I
say,
don't want that, but I want their best odds. I mean, you have to compete against Washington, and they're dog shit. So we have to make it somewhat palatable that we are like competitive with them.
yeah, yeah, I will say I'm a lot less stressed now watching the games now that I've officially thrown in the towel. I don't get pissed when they lose to Portland by 15 or whatever it was last night. So it,
Yeah.
it, it's better for my heart. I can still just enjoy watching the good plays they do. But
Yeah, I mean, I just don't want them to go out there and roll over either. Like, still go out there and be competitive. And like they said, with a win, like obviously they're gonna go out there and try to win every game. I wouldn't expect anything less. Obviously, it's what they go to do, but I feel like there's times where like you can lose and do it the right way. Like the way I don't want to compare it to the Flyers, but it's like they kind of are doing it the right way. It's like they suck, but all their guys are learning how to do things the right way. So it's like it's not really translating into production necessarily, but it's like they have to learn how to do it, learn how to play like an NHL player. Then once you do that, then you can take the next step and then the next step. And it's like they just were allowed to take however long and the league didn't step in or their owners weren't on the different pages. And it's like now you can actually kind of see like they could actually pop off and go on a big run. Like they could. They have that explosiveness. Like they've been subtracting, but they've got people who can mesh a little bit better. So I feel like with the 76ers, like, yeah, that could happen. Like they could go on a run and win like 10 straight to close out the year. Like, God, it would be a stab in my heart if that happened, but it's like great. You know what? They have life and they didn't quit. There's
Yeah.
some people that would just quit, and especially in the league like the NBA, it really wouldn't be past people to be like, "Wow, no kidding. They went and lost 20 straight games. No kidding. The NBA, they don't really give a shit. Like they're just cashing checks." And it's like, yeah, hard not to disagree with that, but I don't know, like if we're gonna lose, like, just make it quick. Like, just do it quick, whatever. We're
Yeah.
gonna this'll feel like nothing next year if they start off and they play like the Cavaliers did. Like, I will be like, whatever, we lost. I don't even remember that. I don't remember.
Yep.
We shipped Paul George out to Costa Rica. I don't remember that.
Yeah. No, I all good point, Chase. I love it. And yeah, the biggest thing is it's not 2012 where we don't know. We have I like it. All good points. Anything else to
Yeah.
add, or should we move on to our last segment of tonight's show?
Yeah. I feel like we're
Yeah.
kicking around a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Chase, why don't you end it on a wheels note, on a track?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll bring it back. So this past weekend was at Coda. Some first points I have to make, some business to attend to. Connor Zilic, if you weren't paying attention to the news headlines, made his pro debut. Didn't know that going into last week when I brought him up. That was helpful information. Also decided to be racing in the Xfinity race. Information I was not totally sure about, but that ended up happening. Got the pole, won the race in the Xfinity Series, so that's pretty good. He's 2 for 2, 2 starts in the Xfinity Series and 2 wins, both at road courses. But nonetheless, and
Wild.
then he got the start on Sunday, ended up getting into a wreck, so that ruined his day. But he was tearing through the field, he was moving pretty much at will, and it seemed like it was just a matter of time. And then luck ran out on him, but nonetheless, it was still a really good race. I feel like it was competitive. They shortened the track. They kind of redesigned Coda from last year, so it was a little bit different setup. And there was definitely some confusion amongst the drivers on what was legal and what wasn't during the race. But Kyle Busch had some life. He was showing that he's still trying to look to end that winless streak. He was in it for a long while until his back wheels blew out. Um, the other guy I gotta give some props to is Bubba Wallace. That guy is racking up points right now. He's setting himself up to a position to be where he can go on a cold streak. It's kind of like how Christopher Bell started last year, where he was getting a lot of wins, but he was also getting a lot of stage wins and points, and it was like
Yeah.
which is just helpful. Like you can go on a run where it's like, okay, in case luck doesn't go our way, and we're not that we're racing bad, but we're just getting into accidents and DNFs, and then you're not getting any points. I mean, he's just been able to just clean up points, and I gotta hand it to him. Like he's been putting himself in a good position for that. Not necessarily later in the race to win it, but he's still getting points that matter, especially for the playoffs. So,
We got
nonetheless, good
the
job by him.
we got the early standings. Can we throw them up there? The stat guy got them.
No, the NASCAR site is struggling, so no, I do not have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all good. Let me see. Might be able to.
I'm actually trying right now, and it is
No
not.
worries. You can keep going. You can keep going, Chase.
Yeah. Um, yeah, but so the other guy to really touch on to give him his props and his flowers is Christopher Bell. Comes out with a win. 2 wins on the early here. A guy I
Wild.
picked last year to win the championship, making me regret it a little bit right now, I'm not gonna lie, considering how hot he is. But he was also hot last year at the beginning of the early in the season, finishing with a lot of races. But he's just been able to put himself, in the spots late in the races to capitalize where it's like he's been kind of floating around, figuring it out. And I feel like that just shows what a championship driver does is they're not necessarily worried about the start of the race, and it's just about how you finish. It's regardless. Um, I was impressed a lot by Chase Elliott too. He got some bad luck, wrecked early on, not his problem. Ross Chastain just ran into him. Ended up finishing top 5, I'm pretty sure, top 10 definitely. But to be able to overcome that adversity, race his way up through the field, and then put himself in a position like that, he probably could have won this race if it was another 10, 15 laps. I mean, just give him
Yeah.
more time and more opportunities. Um, but yeah, it was really impressive. A lot of great racing again. I love it early on, especially the broadcasting. I feel like that also helps. I just like Fox doing it, Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, and Clint Boyer. They're just a really good group, and Kevin Harvick's they all bring really good insight and to hear what they have to say about different situations and the tracks and just the technical aspects of it really is awesome. And I just appreciate it. It's kind of like the UFC broadcasters, like they bring in so many fighters where it's like you get so many different points of view and get to feel like you're seeing it from their eyes in the octagon. It's like I get to feel it from a racer's perspective of like, why did this happen? What are they doing? What's going on under the hood? How are they, especially at a road course? I mean, it's all about the footwork, and they had a lot of cameras going with different guys in different styles. And Shane Van Gisbergen, who's an Australian road racer, he was doing things that nobody else was doing because he was doing it with both feet, and it was insane to watch his footwork about how like he's just manipulating the brake and the clutch and the brake and the clutch and the gas and the brake and the clutch, and it was like watching him play the piano basically with his feet, but moving it with a car, and they're explaining how hard it is to get the car going, and then you have to maintain the speed, and if you don't, then you get like there's just so many things that
Wow.
are going on, and just watching him do it, and knowing he's not even thinking about that, he's just thinking about what's happening in front of him, and it's all real time, and it's like, that's crazy. All these guys get to do things. That's like Saquon running backwards, jumping and leaping. It's like, how do you even think of that all in that split second and make it happen? It's like, how are
Yeah.
these guys maneuvering cars that are thousands of pounds going hundreds of miles an hour around courses, not even knowing what the guys around them are going to be doing? It's like, it's crazy. So, I'm excited. This week we go to Phoenix, so back to some circle action. If you're not interested in road coursing, but yeah, it's gonna be good. I don't really have a prediction for this weekend. I've been doing the Pico driver every week. Haven't been close on it. Every guy I've picked is wrecked, and I missed a week. So off to a great start. I'm gonna say I'm 0-3, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I picked Chase Elliott to win the championship this year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think
Think that's
so.
how it went. Yeah, so I like his positioning. I feel like it's just about luck, but he's been able to finish strong. So I like his odds, especially going to Phoenix. He's just a dominant racer wherever we go. So I like his odds pretty much every week. And you definitely have to expect that Christopher Bell's going to be up there, just considering he's hot right now. I mean, that team, that car, they just seem like they can't miss right now. So we'll give it to him. And William Byron finished second, so another guy who's also hot.
Yeah.
Not as baby sexy as a lot of things, but he's there. He's actually leading in the points right now. Number one, Blaney. Two, Reddick. Three, Christopher Bell. Four, Chase Elliott. Five, Bubba Wallace. Six. So there you go.
Okay.
I
All
like
right.
it. I
Thank you,
like it.
Yeah.
Chase. Yeah, I
Bro,
think we'll end the show there. That was some good talk. We probably could have kept talking for a while.
I know that we
Yeah.
didn't. I feel like we didn't even actually talk that much March Madness prep. So,
Oh yeah, we didn't talk any March Madness. That's okay.
we'll
We'll talk.
definitely have to ensure we start with that next week. Otherwise, this just
Yeah.
happens.
No, that's fine. Yeah, we'll have time next week. So, but yeah,
Oh yeah.
we appreciate everyone for listening. However you're doing it, and we will be back with episode 99 next week.
Old 99.
See you then.
Yeah.